Smashed it. So what'd you say? You had some workouts before?
Yeah, it was only like an hour run because I have to fit in 2 workouts per day right now because I'm doing the Trail Half Marathon World Championship on the island of Malta. So I'm fighting against the best in the world. So I got to be at prime. And I'm turning 40 next month. So that gives you an idea.
Yeah, epic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
So I'm fighting against those guys next month. So I have to fit in 2 workouts and then do all of these things that I'm already doing. So yeah, because we've never met before. So you don't know much about me. Okay, so nutshell, 2 minutes. All right, go. I grew up in the northern part of Quebec. I'm French Canadian, as you might have said seen by the accent. Joined the military. I was 17 years old, served for over a decade. I have an engineering degree, so I have the engineering ring. It's integrated engineering, so it's all the field into one program, and I specialize in biomedical. I'm a certified naturopathic practitioner, uh, so I use the innate ability of the body to heal. I use bioresonance, and a lot has to do with nutrition and inflammation, stress to the systems, frequencies. And then I'm an ultra triathlete also. So I'm one of 3 people in the world that did the epic Deca. So that's 10 Ironman in 10 days on 6 different Hawaiian islands. And I still compete, as you can see. And then we also have a philanthropic side to the company because I haven't even talked about the company. It's we have a philanthropic side and a side that makes money. The side that makes money is the online courses, online sessions, and then um, we have the ultimate package where they come and train with me. And then we have the philanthropic side that is we have a collaboration with the United Nations and we provide for thousands of children in 5 different countries housing, water, clean water. And then we have a mentor system. So we help them with the mindset also. So it's not just giving them money and go ahead. So how am I doing? 1 minute 30. Perfect. Right?
absolutely
Yeah, you
smashing
go.
it. I'm excited to jump into all of that. Like,
Yeah.
we might have to do a round two. I don't think an hour's long enough.
Yeah, that's
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the True Form podcast. Before we dive into today's episode, I just want to thank the legends at Lumaflex for sponsoring today's episode. I'm actually blown away how this little red light therapy device is dramatically improving my health, recovery, vitality. Later on in the episode, I'll tell you how I've been using it and why you should think about getting one yourself. But first, we'll dive into today's conversation to help us, you and me, find our true form. Well,
that's me in a nutshell.
JD, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I'm like I just said, I'm excited to dive into your story. What you're doing is absolutely amazing. Like how much energy you bring to the world, but not just for yourself, but everything you're doing as well, helping everybody in all those different modalities is absolutely epic. So you just said let's start with the workouts. You just said you're doing 2 workouts a day. What do they look like?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you want to know about my workouts? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did 2 workout this morning. I did it was 1 hour of biking and 1 hour of cycling, and then I just finished an hour inclination with some running. So yeah.
Yeah, right. So this dedication to, like you just said, you did the Deca, like 10 Ironmans in 10 days. How long ago was that?
2022. So 4
Okay.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back. So you served in the military. Obviously, that would have set you up with a lot of discipline, time, mental discipline as well. Is that where it came from, or did all that start before you got into military?
No, it started before the military. It started with my dad. My dad was a highly disciplined man. If there's one thing I have to give it to my dad, it was about creating that structure and helping me understand that it's about discipline. He was extremely strict. And so I would say it was before. The misconception that a lot of people make with the military is that it is a disciplined area. It's not at all. There's a ton of people, a lot of people that are undisciplined in the military and to prove it, I usually use the data that just came out with the Canadian military. The Canadian military shows a over 68% are overweight. And if we remove that, because BMI is not necessarily the greatest way to say that people are overweight. If you have a lot of muscle and you're able to lift cars, yes, you are overweight. However, you're functional. So that's not accurate. But when we look at more precise data, which is in the same report, 28% of the Canadian military is unable to be deployed because they are obese. So that's completely far from the scale of being overweight. Now, I agree that to some degree there are some form of medical condition that would push somebody to become obese. However, when you're in the military, they don't hire people in the military when they have these medical conditions. So therefore, either the military caused it or eventually someone had, and that's where I'm leading to the conclusion that these people just don't have the discipline. And so the military is there to create a structure. They provide you the structure, but they don't give you the discipline. So they're telling you in basic training, do your bed in a certain way. But once basic training is over, it's up to you to make your bed or optimize that performance. So when I say performance, to me, I was deployed in certain units that you still have to make your bed, and it'd be quite stringent in some cases. However, I would use a sleeping bag. So I would stuff a sleeping bag and just sleep on top, and I optimized it. There you go. So if there's anything going on, I just stuff it in a sleeping bag and it just goes. So I developed systems to be more efficient. And so it seemed as though I was doing more than the others, but yet I wasn't. I was just more efficient at doing the exact same task. So again, they give you the structure, not necessarily the discipline. That's the
And that's a great point to hit on. Not just the military, but everyday life as well. I see it as a personal trainer all day, every day. You can give people all the information, all the structure, guide them as much as you want, but unless they want to do it, or they feel like they need or have that discipline, if you want to call it discipline, they're not going to get anything done, and they're just going to fall back into their old habits. So what have you learnt, like even before the military? How can we implement things and have that passion to drive forwards with whatever structure's there? Doesn't really matter. Like obviously you're a good example of you just can get it done no matter what. So how do we find that, and how do we help people, stick to the structure and find that passion and discipline?
I use frequencies, so I'm huge on frequencies. It's whatever frequency will resonate with the person. So resonance is how it's interacting with the other frequencies. So the way I could explain it is everybody says everybody says it takes 3 times to tell a man to do a job, at least, right? And that is wrong in so many level and right on so many level, right? So it's wrong because in most cases you tell your buddy, let's go in this location. There are lots of money and beautiful women, and all the men will just flock and just be there in an instant. And so that's we don't have to go too far. That's just basic biology. So Christian or not, you're just gonna try to be in that area because that's biology for you. Okay, so now now what you do with that money and those women are again, that's where the value comes in, but that's the general sense. So when a person, sometimes a partner, would say something, they would say it in a frequency or in a way that the man has somewhat tuned out to it. So in the beginning is just mow the lawn, which is just basic. You have to do it, and you know you have to mow the lawn, but you're not going to do it because you did not hear it in the way that your brain is able to assimilate the information. The second would be, now she either ups the frequency or becomes sometimes nagging or condescending, and maybe in the second way. And then in the third one, it's even worse, because now she's saying, well, now I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go and mow the lawn myself. That's fine. And so now this is a frequency that all men are not listening to it at all. They're just tuning it out. Then all of a sudden the guy goes to have a beer with his buddy or have a drink with his buddy, and then he's drinking, and his buddy says, oh, my wife loves it when I mow the lawn shirtless. And so that frequency just resonates with him. All of a sudden he runs back home, mows the lawn shirtless, and then all of a sudden that could have avoided a lot of problems. So that has to do with 3 levels of authority, essentially. That's the first point, which is frequencies. Love is the highest level of frequencies. So if you're saying in a loving way, which love is not a frequencies that one can fake. And that's why a lot of people are saying, well, you can't buy love. But I say love is worth more than money, because you can love money, but you can't buy love. So that's one way to that's one way to put it. But based on frequencies, that's one way that I can say how you can get your clients or anyone else to do something, because it's the highest level of frequency. Then you would use love. Now, love is perceived in different ways, and then you have a chart where you can use different types of love. And to some degree, then you reach down the level of sometimes authority. And then you have 3 levels of authority. One is legal. So the police would be in the legal system, where if they tell you to get off the street, you are getting off the street. And it doesn't matter if they're saying it nicely or if they're yelling at you, you are getting off the street, because you will be in legal troubles. There are authorities that now we can tap into, which are your stories. So now, because someone has been in this type of situation and they were in the middle of the street and they got hit by a car, therefore nobody goes into the street as a result. And we're laughing at it because it doesn't happen. But when you go down to other countries, India, sometimes places in Africa, they're doing some weird things that we would look at it and say, why? Like, why are you avoiding this specific street? Or why are you? And it's just based on the authority level of the story, which again, a coach very often is based on that ethos, or that level of authority. Because if he has a great body and a great story, because I've accomplished this, therefore you can accomplish that, or I can help you achieve that space. And then there is also the practical aspect, where you can go to schools or learn it from a perspective where now you have some form of other authority that is putting their stamp on you, more of like the logos type of authority. And it's depending on what the person will listen to. So some people, unless you're a doctor, they will tune you out completely. So again, based on frequencies and also based on authority. So you can say whatever you want. And it goes as crazy. I think it's crazy that sometimes a doctor can be on television or anywhere else in the world, and it's the best doctor, and then he's giving you the best advice on what not to do. But then because you have you allowed a certain form of authority from your drunk uncle, somehow what that uncle is saying is worth way more than all of these other therapists and coaches. So by finding out the right frequency and the right authority level, then you're able to make anyone move in the entire world. You're able to make anyone move. But what happened, and that's the problem with a lot of coaching is that people just pick anybody. So they say, well, I just want to make $100. I just want to make $1,000, and or they want to get to that famous $10,000 a month. So they pick anybody. So they're choosing, or they're not even at the choosing phase. They're at the reactional phase. So they're still acting in a sympathetic way, so of the system, which for those that are not familiar, there's a sympathetic and the parasympathetic. I'm sure you're familiar with it. The sympathetic is the fight or flight, and the parasympathetic is more of the control side. So instead of moving from the reactional side, then you're moving to the decisional side. It's more of I want to work with you. I want to be with you in a relationship. And then at that moment, once you have the right client, once you have the right person in your life, once you have the right circle of friends, unless some form of government or some entity or death, sadly, breaks that dynamic, you are bound to success completely. Once you have these individual in your life and you're all aligned, you're bound to success, definitely. Yeah.
I love that. I've heard that explained so many different ways, but that's the best way I think I've heard it explained, and very practical, easy to understand, and it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a couple of directions I want to go with that. How do we become more aware? So I work with a bunch of different coaches, PTs, and like you hit the nail on the head. Like so many people start to their coaching career or whatever coaching they're doing, and they're like, I just need all the clients. I need to make this much money. But how do we get them to understand that it's not about getting all the money, but it's putting that love out there and seeing who comes back and wants to receive it? We'll get back to today's episode shortly, but first, are you somebody that works out regularly, sleeps the right amount, eats all the healthy food, but you still feel like you're not getting the results you deserve? It's not some crazy workout routine, fancy new supplement, or restrictive diet that is missing in your life. The thing that is missing that will help you find your true form and finally get those results that you deserve is me. Yes, me. I've been a personal trainer for about 15 years now, coming up on 300 podcast episodes where I've interviewed athletes, coaches, doctors, authors, high performers, and a bunch of other people, which means I know what we need to work on to find your true form and finally get those results you deserve. One of the biggest things I've realized over the last 15 years and 300 podcast episodes is that there's not one thing that is going to help you get those results. Finding your true form is very individualized, and when we work together, we work on your mind, body, and your identity, which means you're going to follow a workout program that I design around your goals, your abilities, and your lifestyle. We're going to make sure that you're eating all the right foods and not the foods that you see on social media that you think you should be eating. We find out what works for you, and obviously you're going to be following all those good sleeping habits. But we're also going to work on your identity, and their identity is a big part that a lot of people are missing and is why they feel like they're not getting the results they deserve. So if you are somebody that wants to finally get those results you deserve and start living a life that is true to you, hit the link in the description. I would love to work with you and help you get there. Let's get back to the episode.
Well, first off, you need to be building the level of authority that you want to be recognized for for me, the level of authority that I have, well, I have the story, I have the education, uh, we're part of an entity, like an organization, so I have that legal aspect, but I did not choose the legal aspect until I reached that next level in where I wanted to go. So pick the level of authority that you want to have or that you're able to achieve. Um, I would say get your first client right off the gate, and that's it. Pick what you're really good at. If all of a sudden you already have your master's degree, okay, just go right out the gate with this, and then that's it. So pick that level of authority. Provide a ton of value to people, and then you can't fail while you're providing all of that to individuals. You're partnering with people that are already in that space because a lot of them, the majority of them, are overloaded. They don't even know how to run a business. They have too much client, but they want to hog them, and all they're looking. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you go to gyms, and a lot of them are already looking for those personal trainers or people that work part-time or on the side, or they're already looking for these types of people. They're hurting really badly for these types of personal trainers. So that's one way of coaching people that works very well. Why get your first client right off the gate with that level of authority is because you get this dopamine rush into your system where you're winning, so that your client was $100 a month, or that he was $10, right? And I'm serious. They go for $20. That's it. If that person is not able to fork out $20, then just dump them, and that's it. Just say that's about it. Um, then you move to a level of authority that is based on experience, which everybody needs to move towards. And that's with stacking success. So once you're going for that first client, you say it's $20. But here's the catch, okay? Because there's a catch, there's a scam, okay? Here's what you're gonna do. You're going to give me one video, 10-second. I'm gonna film it. I can even give you the script if you want. If not, pick your own or tweak it to your liking, and stack the success. Meaning, talk about it to all your friends, and that's the best level of that's the best way to acquire clients is by word of mouth, because they'll be already friends with one another, right? It's like getting girls, right? Getting girls in a bars, you're not getting the best of the best. You're not getting you're not getting what you need, no matter where you think you fit on the chart. Those girls that are that either that want what you want are not in the clubs. I can guarantee you that they are not. And if they are already with their group of friends, and then you just need, if you know one of those girls, you're already in. That's it. So there you go. So if you got that client refers you to other people, and that's how you are able to get more clients in that space, because that's where you want to be. Because now he knows how you operate, and then he'll just refer you to other people. And if you did not do a good job, then what you do is you take the feedback. Thank you. I'm really bad at my job. I'm starting, so that's fine. And then do another one. What is it going to cost you? If there's not a single person that is able to get $20 from someone, okay, you are not doing the work. You are not executing. That's what you're doing. If you're not able to get at least one client for $20, $20. Everybody has $20. Homeless people have $20. Now don't go get homeless people to do some workout, okay? That might make a weird YouTube video that I did not tell you to do that, okay? So But everybody's able to get one client, $20 first, and then you train him 1 month. There you go. Second month, well, you optimize your system. It's not working. And you have the second month. The second month, you're still at $20. Why? Because you did not do a good job. Well, the likelihood that you're at your third month and you're still at $20 is highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Because you're going to be posting about the success of the person. And with what we have right now, with the level of education that the people have, they think they know everything because they have ChatGPT in their hand. ChatGPT is not your coach. ChatGPT is not your nutritionist, by the way. ChatGPT makes people that are weak. That's what he does. Why? Because ChatGPT, instead of a coach, it's only a tool. That's all it is.
Yep.
That's
100%.
all it is. If you don't understand how to use the prompts with the tool, you're going to, I can ask, can I get a workout plan? Can I get a nutrition plan? And if it's not exactly what I need, there's a high likelihood that I'm going to hurt myself as a result of the workout and the nutrition. It's not advisable, but these people need to understand that, and you need to show them. So the way that you get to work with them is by picking you don't pick the first one. You pick the one that you want to work with. So it's like $20, but you're going to do this. What's your outcome? See, you have a clear outcome. Just like you go on a date. Many guys, they go on a date, they don't even know what they want. That's it. No, you go on a date, you know exactly what you want. You get out of the house, you know exactly what you want. You're going to the grocery store. If you don't know what you want and you're hungry and you go to the grocery store, body, you're going to be you're going to be eating in the aisle. You're going to be eating on your way home. You're going to be eating on the way there. You're going to be snacking. You're going to be buying things that you don't even need. You're going to be overspending. Now you're going to be having a financial problem, not a nutritional problem. So for that $20 client, what do? You go get that client. What do you want? I want a video. That's what I said. $20, client, boom. That's it. You got your first client. And you don't want to do this? Perfect. Done. What do you want to work with? You want to work with girls? You want to work with guys? You have both at the gym. Just pick one. That's it. It's not rocket science, but you have to create some form of action. And then the highest level, it comes with the mindset. And then it gets even worse when you get rejection, and we can talk about that after. But yeah, that's another.
Where does the coaching piece fit into your life? So you've done some of the world's hardest challenges. You served in the military. You've done all these other educational pieces. At what point did you I want to coach people. I want to help people live a better life?
I always knew that I was going to do this. And yeah, people love authenticity. I am a weak, scared man, and people see me for my accomplishment, but I see me from all of the failures. I thought there was no money to be done into it. That's what I thought. I remember I'm Christian, so I was praying, and God was telling me, okay, you're going in that direction. You're going to be a coach, or now I'm a therapist, and I said, there's no money to be done into ultra endurance triathlon. No one pays you to do that. And even the epic Deca costed me $100,000, and I had to spend that in like 2 weeks. And coming from a military background, not a millionaire, and my parents are not rich. So I'm looking at all of this and thinking, I won't make it. It's very difficult. So I always wanted to do it, but at the same time, I thought there was no money. And it's true. There is no money. There's no money for people that are not able to do the work. It's very difficult, highly competitive, because everybody can get into that space. You got Uncle Joe who drinks beer and says, "Hey, I want to be a coach somehow," and all of a sudden becomes a coach in the middle of his basement. And so so the space is, everybody wants to be this leader in the space and adds value to people's life. But you have to find your target. You have to know your value, and this is the hard work. This is the hard work is understanding what is your value. What are you providing to all these other people? I'm not saying anything different than guys that are doing ultra, like David Goggins, or these guys have achieved a lot. Congratulations. He's saying it from a different authority levels as we looked at. He's saying it from a different frequency. He's going to use profanity unapologetically, and he's going to use yelling as a frequency. So for him, that's his persona. That's the way that he wants to cater to his target market. The reason why he's succeeding has a lot. Okay, there are other parts, like I'm sure that everybody is able to read between the lines, but the major component to it is that he picked his frequency, he picked his authority level, and he went for it. That's what he did. This is who I am. Look at the book Atomic Habits. The guy teaches about habit, and there's 4 steps. Boom, that's it. Great book. I'm not doing any sponsorship or anything to this, but it's a great book. But there's 4 steps, and it's a giant book. The guy is the habit guy. That's it. That's what he does. And the guy is making some solid money, and all he does is just go conferences, get the book. It's a massive company. It's an enterprise that makes some solid money, all on the basis of 4 easy steps and a book. And it's the Atomic Habits, right? So why is that? Well, that's because you pick what you're good at, and then you go. That's your purpose in life. God created you for a specific purpose. What's happening, and that's in the book. That's an orange book. I want to. I'll circle back to it.
Yep.
The Alchemist. The Alchemist.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Oh, you've read it? Okay.
Yep.
So similar to The Alchemist, the guy was a just for those that don't know, because we both read it. It's a phenomenal book. Okay, I might ruin it for all of you. At the beginning, he's a shepherd. Guy's a shepherd, has a pool, and somehow there's no genie or there's nobody that just grabs him and says, "You are going there." At that place, he has the strong pull, sells all his sheep, and then moves and tries to find the meaning of his life, the purpose of it. And we all have to come to that stage where we are going to follow that pull, that click that is in our life. So the way I can frame it so that everybody can use it is to move from a fear perspective to a faith perspective, so that you are not generating all of your decisions from fear. You are analyzing the fear to ensure that you're not going to hurt yourself and the environment, and you're going to live in faith. And that's what he did. If I'm analyzing the entire book, and that's the way I could look at it. So there's a lot of people right now, what they're doing is they're saying, well, I'm not going to be an electrician. because I didn't, I all my family went to university. I need to go to university, and so I'm not going to become an electrician. Or I need to become a coach because definitely. Uh, now I said that on a podcast, and one guy transcribed it and sent it to me, and he said, "I'd like to learn about your system because you said in a podcast that you make millions and you only work for 2 hours." When you look at the transcription, yes, I'm saying this. There are lots of coaches out there. They're all saying, "Look, I have a beautiful car in the garage and I work only 2 hours a month and I make millions." Okay. I don't. Okay. So let me just be clear. Okay. Uh, I am doing very well financially. Okay. But I do not make millions every single month. And I work way more than 2 hours
Yeah.
per month. There's a lot of people that would push. So I'm circling back to that guy who says, "Oh, I'm not going to become an electrician." But an electrician, when you look at it, goes for 6 months, maybe a year of training. Oftentimes it's subsidized by the government. So you get free schooling, you go to work as an apprentice, and within 2 years, you're a master electrician, or depending on the states, or and then you become maybe a 4 year electrician, and you're already making some six-figure income quite rapidly, if not uh, going into $200,000 because you became an electrician. So the trade works are somewhat coming back and making an effect. But everybody is looking at it as saying, "Well, I want to be JD Tremblay because look at this guy. He runs entire countries, swim, bike, and run countries, and he makes money by traveling with a laptop and talking in front of crowds and making that amount of money. I would rather want to do this than that." God has called you for a specific purpose, and you ought to live with that purpose. If you were called to be in Christianity, it's the body of Christ. So we're all called to be the body of Christ. But what's happening is that many people, they're called to be a finger, and they're trying to be an ear because they've saw somewhere on social media that that ear is way more important than the finger. So I'm here to say that in terms of the world, I agree that the world will see a a different value for people. But if you look at yourself from a value perspective of to me, because I'm a Christian, I choose how God looks at me. And to other people, you can look at it as from a perspective of someone that is outside of space, time, and matter that would look upon your life and placed you on earth for some purpose. Okay. So for instance and purposes, okay, because I'm a Christian, we'll call him God. So God, okay, for all the others, I think they call him like the universe or something. So
Hmm.
God placed me on earth for a specific purpose. I am to live that purpose to its full capacity. And if I'm called to talk on stage, then I am called to talk on stage. So that person that all of a sudden hears this message and says, "Hey, I've been called to make events." And I like what JD is saying. How about I call him and then we hire him for that event, and then I'm going to put the event. And well, you know how much an event planner makes? And all they do is just get on the phone. They know a lot of people. They put them all together, and then they smash them all, and then they become. And then all of a sudden, you're making a lot of money because, well, God called you to. You can call it as resonate at that frequency or be at that level, but not being in the ways that God called you to be. That's where you're getting people that are injured, people that are radiating at the wrong frequency. I was talking with a guy the other day, but it was today. It was not even the other day, and the guy making really good money, but he said I was doing drugs. I was doing drugs to numb my life because I hated it. And the guy quit his job, high corporate job, all of a sudden, no money coming in. And he says, now I do exactly what I want. And the guy does YouTube, and, and he's doing very well. Why? Because again, we're gravitating towards what he's resonating more than what the world is just telling you and trying to give you an idea of what you should be.
Mm.
So now everybody is looking at it and being coached on go for these millionaires, go for these guys that are high value and high net worth. And you know how much it takes to get these guys, and you know exactly where they hang out and whether they operate on another level, buddy. This is not even close to what you can handle, and then how much can you handle. So again, you need to look at all of these factors and not necessarily go for what the world is telling you that you should go for, because again, we have companies like Walmart and Amazon. They're selling to everybody. That's
Mm.
it. If you go into a Walmart and you're Shaquille O'Neal and you want to buy a vacuum cleaner, they will sell it to you at the exact same price as another person, anybody that walks in. So they're not necessarily going for that high ticket offer and all of these. You just have to fit in where you need to be and be at that right location. And then
Mm.
that's where we come in, because what we do is we help those people and we put them into structure, and we help them with we created like systems for this. So, yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, that's the hard part. The easy part is just getting up and doing the work you need to. But the hardest part is taking the time, quieting the noise, so you can actually understand what you want and who you are, so you can chase the right things. Because a lot of people are out there just chasing all these things because they're influenced by all these outside, oh, like you said, just people thinking that they're making $2 million in with 2 hours work and all that sort of stuff. And they think they want that, but they don't actually want that.
No,
So
because
you,
they'll get 2 million. They'll get to 2 million, and what are they gonna do with it? They really think that they're gonna make $1 million or two, and then they're gonna lay on the beach, create some form of systems, and not do anything.
Mhm.
No, when you develop that mindset, you just don't want to stop anymore. It almost becomes an addiction, and you have to be careful. That's why our four pillars are based on the epic Deca that I did. And epic stands for eternal restoration, the physical temple, the identity, and then the community. And when you have all one of them that is not in alignment with all the other, then you're not having some form of equilibrium that works for your situation. Now, we're not talking about removing one, but sometimes they are completely out of balance, so to speak.
So you said you don't see yourself as your achievements. How do you see yourself?
Yeah, like most people, I'm just a regular guy. There's nothing special about me. Most people look at you for your achievements. They say, "Oh, this is the epic Deca guy. Oh, this is hey, you're a naturopath." But for the majority of people, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we look at ourselves for what we want to achieve. So the way I look at myself is, oh, I have not achieved this. So I'm going for the world championship next month. I have not achieved that status. So there's always something else at the next level, and that's up to you to reach that next level. But then again, it demands a certain form of structure to or discipline, if you want to use that word, to achieve that next level. So the way I see myself is, if I look at myself in the future, it's uh, it's the achievements that I have not yet completed, and then there is, I look at myself as all the failures that I see the mountain of failures that all the others are not seeing. They're seeing, oh, you did the epic Deca, but they're not seeing that I sold my house and I was in the street to get to the epic Deca, because I did not have a minimum of 60,000. Plus, I was in debt to get to that race. So I made that sacrifice. I reached that level. Now, again, I'm doing very well financially. However, at that time, I was sleeping in a storage unit. I was sleeping, and did I make was this a failure? Not at all. Not at all.
Mm.
I see it as a great success because I knew that I would use that story to build that. Again, thinking in terms of authority. I knew that it would be a story. I was not laughing. I can tell you right now, I was not laughing. Picking up your kid from your ex wife's place, knowing you don't even have a house, you're living in a storage unit, and you're picking up your kid, going to a jumping place, you're paying a little bit of money. He's jumping, and then he wants a chocolate bar, and he wants the slushy, and he wants all of these things, and you're going, all right, daddy loves you. Doesn't
Mm.
see any of that. All he sees is the smile. Bring him back to your ex-wife for your weekend. And during the night, I was going to sleep in my car because I did not want to drive back to the other city that I was living at. So I was sleeping in my car, and it's very cold in Canada. I'm
Mm.
sleeping in a truck stop in the back of my car, and then in the morning, no shower, I'd go and pick up my kid again for the second day, play with him, and then I would go back to my place and start working. So I needed to create these systems. I needed to, so people look at the success. They look at, oh wow, this guy now has X, Y, and Z. I don't necessarily. Again, I use them to inspire others that they can achieve great things. But again, there's nothing special about JD. If I cut myself, there's blood coming out and it's red, and that's about it. I just chose to have some courage and to decide. And that's where I was able to create this system of
Mm.
how I was able to decide based on it was yeah, maybe I can share that with you. It's how to make decision, because I did not know how I did these decision. And then I did the epic Deca, and then it's after that I started putting it pen to paper. That's when I started to realize it. So I use the acronym DECIDE, and DECIDE is D is for data over emotion. So I understood that you're sleeping in the back of your car at minus 30 degree, and Celsius Fahrenheit is the same at that level. Yeah. I
It is crazy how these little red lights can have such a positive impact on your overall health and wellness. I'm actually disappointed in myself for taking so long to get into red light therapy. But there's just so many shitty products out there, and they're super expensive. Like, you're buying these expensive red lights, you put them on your skin, hopefully they're working, you don't know. And it's been crazy to feel the effects. I've been using the Lumaflex Body Pro for a few weeks now, and it is so amazing to actually feel the effects of the red lights after a few days. I've been struggling with plantar fasciitis for too long, 8 months now, maybe. And I was almost at the point where I was going to go down PRP, cortisone, just to get rid of the pain so I could do the exercises to fix it. Like, when your ankle feels like it's going to get ripped off by a blunt butter knife, you really don't want to do the exercises to fix the ankle, the plantar fasciitis. And after 3 days, 4 rounds each day, on the 4th day, the pain was gone. It was crazy. So now I can actually do my exercises to fix the plantar fasciitis pain-free. And I actually went for a run the other day, still pain-free. Crazy. So I'm excited to have Lumaflex as a sponsor of the podcast. If you want to start improving your overall health and wellness with red light therapy, check Lumaflex out. You can hit the link in the description. Use Trueform at the checkout to get 10% off. And I can't wait for you to start feeling the effects of these crazy little red lights as well.
I knew that there were the feelings that I had were not I was not happy. All right, there's nothing happy about it. So it was not about emotions, it was not about feelings. It was about data. So how can I proceed to the next level based on data? What is the data? Well, I saw this guy, he's selling books, or I saw this guy, he did this because as a result of that. So therefore, I'm going to make that next step. So I studied the people that were on the next level, on the next step, on the next branch, and then you reach the next level. I made the mistake to study a lot of them, which sometimes they're like Tony Robbins. I started studying Tony Robbins. Like that's ridiculous because again, he's a billionaire. So you're in the back of your car looking at Tony Robbins and reading his books, and not conducive to my growth, right? So again, data that you're able to digest, which goes to the E, which is energy. What level of energy do you have? If I'm in the back of a car sleeping at 30 degrees Celsius and your energy level is depleted, and so you or what are you what are your stressors outside of that? And so again, energy levels, C for cognitive load. So what are you able to handle? Are you even able to handle a kid that is screaming? And if you're not, then as sad as it is, and I know it comes from a Christian guy, loves my son, but just don't go pick up your kid. It's better to not pick up your kid than to snap at him in some ways that you're going to regret it, which will cause more cognitive load for the upcoming week. So I love my kid. I want to see him, but if I'm not able to handle the cognitive load of having him or able to detach from the current stressors, then not picking up your child might be a good option. Again, that's why I created this acronym, is because everybody can use it to their own level. So I don't want to just put words in the mouths of people or it's just use the system however you want. I is for inflammation. So what is the level of inflammation that you have in your system? If you're only able to afford a dollar meal at McDonald's to eat, or if there's still that, I don't know, I don't go to McDonald's. But if it is, or if you're only able to go to the dollar store to eat, and they don't have the highest level of quality at the dollar store, but if that's the only thing you're able to eat, it will create some inflammation in your system. It will reduce your cognitive load, reduce your energy. However, you will still increase your energy level to its highest peak because now you're able to make healthier choices than maybe taking pop or just eating candies or just random fast food that might not be conducive to what you want to achieve. So D is definitely decision timing. So all the decisions that we make are based on time, and some of them, right? And we've all been there. You have this wonderful opportunity, and a lot of people think, well, it's too good to be true. You're right. The Epic Deca seemed too good to be true, but I decided still to take action. And that's because I understood the stakes. I was ready to do it. We created another system for that. But there are certain decisions that you will have to make in life that are time sensitive, and you will have to jump in that loop wherever you want to be. So, decision timing is a factor to take into consideration when you decide, create a decision. And then E is definitely my favorite because execute. And I would say that a lot of people are going through the entire system. They understand the data. They understand the energy regulation, the cognitive load. They do their little cold bath and their little chia seed, and they're able to get. And then they have the decision timing. So they make decisions. They try to create the next cookbook and create all the courses and create all of this. And it's all about creation, creation, and creation. And then they build their value to a certain level, but there's no execution. They're not getting clients. They're not even working. They're just working to there was a speaker once that said, don't work to feed the frog. Is that what it is? Or don't feed the frog to others, or something along those lines. The basic of it is, don't feed someone else's mouth, essentially. That you want to be able to be successful in the ways that uh, God called you to be. That's it. If God called you to be a millionaire, congratulations. If God called you to be at 10K a month and live comfortably, then so be it. And if He called you to be lesser financially, I'm just using the financial component, but that's about it. So execution is definitely part of the game. You have to take action every single day, despite what you might feel, and you are to take action for yourself. The way that you're able to at least eat, and when you provide the value for other people, people find you. We live in a world where people, you can live in the woods, people will find you. If you're the best at what you do, people will find you. And to prove that, maybe someone has a car mechanic, and they know they're the best car mechanic because they don't just give you the trick. They don't just repair your car. They also give you some tricks, and you know they're trying to save you money, and you know they're really good, and they're friendly, and they have the best service. You're willing to go to the next city just to see this car mechanic and follow him. Can be a hairdresser, can be, but you're able to. If you're the best, people will move. They'll go to see you. There's no doubt in it. But if you understand the frequencies, the authority, if you're understanding how to decide and not do it from a reactional phase, then you're able to really gear towards your purpose.
I was gonna. I had a question after you were telling your stories and going through how to coach and everything in between, and you were talking about failing and basically just getting up and just keep doing the work. Don't worry about, I guess, what everybody else thinks of you. And I was going to ask a question: how do you keep getting up and just keep going through the motions? And obviously, it's like you don't. You said you're not very different from everybody else, but you definitely are. Like you've obviously got that. The mindset of the engineer, and you engineer certain ways, but the ability to also have that like knowledge and those steps, but then know who you are and implement that in an authentic way. I reckon that definitely makes you special, because that's very rare. So it's nice to see. And I think that's a good lesson for everybody from the podcast, like this conversation. Like there's systems, but like you said, you need to take action, but you also need to know who you are before you take action, because you might be taking action on a random, like you said, using that analogy of a finger and the ear, you might be taking action to be a finger instead of the ear. So yeah, I appreciate that a lot. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I would say it's courage. I would say it's courage. That's the way I would wrap it up. It's and the definition of courage is to, even though you have fear, you're still going to do the work. So I did it. I did the work. So to become an engineer, I had to do some work and some calculations and have long nights doing math work, which is not necessarily appealing to most people. But if you understand what the end game is, then you're able to do the work, right? God called me to be an engineer. I became an engineer. That's it. I sometimes don't want to be in certain positions, but it's to live by courage that will change all of those outcomes. And who knows, maybe we're going to meet where, I mean, yeah, here's the way out. Yeah, there's another one is people will hate you anyway, and then people will love you anyway. If you say to someone I love you, they might say, oh, what does he mean? And then they might despise, or they might overthink it, and then some other people would just might accept it, and then some other people might take it in a completely different way. Right? Oh, he really loves me. Yes, he told me. Okay, right? So I love you, 3 words can get you a long way into
Mm.
different perspective. So you don't know really how other people are going to react with those 3 words, and that's just an example. So they're gonna hate you, they're gonna love you. It doesn't really matter, because if you're looking at it from the perspective of how God looks at you, then it becomes way more fun, because now
Mm.
you're able to please the people that He put you on the earth to please. And that's now living your true purpose
Mm.
and being authentic to people. But on both sides, there's pain. There's going to be pain by you staying on the couch and going to your next doctor's appointment. And there's going to be pain if you're going on your second workout and you're sweating, and you will have some form of pain in your body or in your head. So pick your pain, choose your pain, and live with courage. Yep.
Love that. Just before a little side tangent, if you got time. So you sold your house. You were living in the back of your car all while you're training for the Deca.
Yeah. Not training. I had a house at that time, but it was rented, and I had to. So I went to my dad, who had a house, and he was renting. And then my dad said, I'm going to go to Florida. So he drove down to Florida, left, and then he did not need that house that he was renting. So I went there with my kids, stayed there for a while, trained for the Epic Deca.
What was the training like? Because I feel like that would take many hours every day to train for something like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's I've trained with elite athletes. I've trained with Olympians, and even I was in Eton, Kenya, a few months ago. And what happened is the way that they train is mostly in zone 1 and zone 2. And then many people don't want to be in zone 1 and zone 2. They want to have the hard workout.
Yeah.
If it doesn't sting, I did not get a good workout. Or they want to go on Strava and show I did a workout and I was at 2:30, so 2 minute 30 by minute per kilometer, right? I mean, everybody wants to flash, but if you don't care about what other people are looking, a lot of the Kenyans, what happened, the reason why they're fast is because they eventually build to that level where
Mm.
now they're easy pace. There's 1 and they're 2, their zone 1 and their zone 2 is in the 5 minute per kilometer run, and that's just in the running. So you need to build those systems over time, and that's taking a lot of effort, and that's what a lot of people are not ready to put in the effort. So that was my training. I did mostly zone 1 and zone 2. I still hired a coach during the Epic Deca. Right before, I had 3 coaches following me. I had a swim coach, I had a triathlon coach, and I also had a cycling one. But that's how I trained for the Epic Deca. But it's when the race happened, because I was only registered for the Epic Deca 3 months prior to the Epic Deca. That's when I called my coach and I said, I want to do the Epic Deca. And he said, what is that? That was his first question. And then when I explained to him, he said, you're already registered to 20 races and you don't have the money. And how? You're adding 10 Ironmen to your schedule that is already full of races. How are you even going to function with after 10 Ironmen? He said, you're ruining all of your other races. So if you fail that race in any capacity, you get to Ironman 1 and then you don't you don't finish the Deca, you're done. You're done for the entire season. So I said, yeah, let's I'll think about it at first. And I needed money, and I also needed 4 people to follow me, to crew for me. So 2 people on, 2 people off, and alternate day to day. So they're rested, but I'm the only one that is doing the event and staying up. And so I needed the money, put my house for sale. I sold it and took the money, and I went to do a race. They gave me a wooden medal that is worth nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. See, that's the beauty of coaching. The beauty of coaching is now I can talk about it. But at that moment, selling your house and chasing a wooden medal that is worth nothing, now it's worth nothing if I'm not tying it in to that sense of value. So everybody is now looking at the Epic Deca saying, well, I want to learn all these stories. I want to be entertained. I want to learn about how did you do it? What is the nutrition around it? Or what is the coaching? Or what does it look? But I had to create that whole structure and added that value. And that's what you can do as a coach. Everybody can do it. That's why I'm saying I'm not special. However, I had to build up to these systems and understand how they function. This does not come with just a ChatGPT prompt. It comes from raw experiences, and that's what I mean by doing the work. It's difficult, very difficult, because we're talking about that's one of the highest level of faith that people it's removing any sense of security. And that's what you're gonna have to do with coaching or with all sorts of decision that anyone make in their life. They'll have to remove that sense of security. They'll have to be vulnerable with another human being. For me, it was with my coaches, and I had to make decisions that were highly uncomfortable to perform. I'm glad to say that I'm on the other side, but it took me a while. I can tell you, in 2022, I was not going on podcast. 2023, it took me a while to get it going. I was still with the book in 2023, but no one knew that I was still in storage, and no one knew about that. I was not talking about it. I even one guy interviewed me and said, "We can't put this on. We can't put this out there." And I said, "Well, how are you gonna? Are you gonna scratch the entire interview?" And he said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm just going to say that you made your money through real estate." And I said, "Well, you're right." But now I'm able to show people that it takes a lot to create these systems and achieve that level. It's going to require a lot out of you, but it's a level of mindset that if you're willing to do it, I would not change it for anything in the world. I would not change it. I would not like want to go back into a storage place. That's for sure. Okay. But now I have it, and I did it. and I'm excited to say that I'm on the other side, and that now, I'm doing well financially. We're doing very well as a company, so I'm excited about that. So yeah.
Epic. So where can people find more about you and what you're doing?
HungryWarriorAcademy.com. They can Google that and find out if we're the right fit, and if not, well, they know at least we'll give them lots of value, lots of love, even if they hate us.
JD, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Jack, for having me.
What is up? Thanks for being here at the end of the episode. Obviously, you've enjoyed it and it's helped you find your true form. And I bet you know somebody that's going to help find their true form as well. So I'd appreciate it if you could copy this show link, send it to one friend or family member and say, hey, have a listen to this. It's going to help you find your true form. They'll probably have no idea what you're talking about, but it will help them. And I'd appreciate if you could do that. Also, all podcast platforms these days have some sort of algorithm. So the more you interact with this episode, the better it's going to perform and help reach more people and help them find their true form as well. So 5-star review, positive comment, like, share, comment, however you can interact with the episode. I'd appreciate that, and everybody listening that hasn't heard of the True Form podcast is going to appreciate it as well.